$3.1 billion. That is the amount of insured damage caused by severe weather events in 2023. This is according to a new report by the Insurance Bureau of Canada. So this is the second year in a row that Canada exceeded $3 billion in damage, and the country is now viewed as a riskier place to insure. So what's behind the number? And what role does inflation play in all of this? For more, we are joined by Glenn McEwen, Manager Director at the Institute for Catastrophic Loss Reduction. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So I'm going to list the top 5 costliest weather events from 2023. They are, according to this report, Nova Scotia flooding, which cost $170 million. The Prairie summer storms cost $300 million. The Ontario and Quebec ice storms cost $330 million. The severe summer storms in Ontario cost $340 million. And the Okanagan and Shuswap wildfires cost a whopping $720 million. So how does this year compare to previous years?
It was another busy year, and as you mentioned, it was the second year in a row where we exceeded $3 billion. Year after year, it seems that we're breaking records for insured losses from disasters. Have to stress that this is the insured damage. It's not the total damage. The total damage number is much larger. We don't know that number, but it's always much larger. It's just costing society way more money each and every year.
How does inflation, I mentioned that in my intro, how does inflation factor into the cost of these severe weather events?
Yeah, it plays a really big role, especially the big inflation numbers we've been seeing over the last year or so. Inflation impacts the cost of claims. It impacts the cost of building materials. It impacts the cost of labor and everything else that you have to pay for to replace or fix after a severe weather event. So it plays a very big role.
So when I say Canada is viewed as a risky place to insure, what does that mean?
Well, back in the day, I've been doing this for a long time, but back in the day, disasters were pretty meek. They came far apart. They weren't that expensive. We were able to get people whole again and help them recover and wait weeks or months until the next disaster. That's not happening anymore. We're seeing many large disasters happening in very close succession. Sometimes they're overlapping each other. That's not the way it used to be. I think climate change plays a big role in that. Urbanization plays a big role in that. We just have more people and more things to break and have to replace and that sort of thing. So Canada is changing. And as we become a bigger country and more people and cities become bigger and climate change bites in further, we're just seeing more and more damage year after year.
So what does that mean for people, Glenn? I mean, how challenging is it for people right now in these high-risk areas to even get insured?
Yeah, so we hear about this mostly on the flood side. So overland flood insurance has only been available in Canada for about 8 years. And there's a portion of the population, I think around 10%, maybe just under, that really can't get overland flood insurance because they live in a very high-risk area where flooding occurs all the time. Right now, the Insurance Bureau of Canada is working with the federal government on a solution for that. But in the meantime, there are people that are going without overland flood insurance.
The federal government committed to a national flood insurance program in last year's federal budget, but progress has stalled. What needs to happen to get that funding secured, and how will that help?
It'll help big time because, as I mentioned, there's a large portion of the population that don't have that insurance. It takes time to develop a program like this. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. I think it's progressing very well. We should see something happening soon. That is an Insurance Bureau of Canada project, though, not an Institute for Catastrophic Loss Reduction project. But we will see something, I think, shortly. A lot of hard work from a lot of people are going into the development of that program.
Glenn McEwen, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.